first into our second segment ambayo ni the guest. Tutakuwa have a little bit of some discussion, but if you're watching us through Facebook, Mamlaka TV is our Facebook page. Grace Nja is also my Facebook page, and Karaoke Yanga is also my Facebook page. Tuandike pale kwenye comment section utueleze unatazama ukiwa sehemu gani, and if you have any questions for our topic of today, you can also comment pale chini and we'll be able to answer your questions. Leo I'm joined with an advocate. I'll be giving him an opportunity to introduce, atuambie ametoka wapi, atuambie jina yake. Karibu sana. Good morning.
Good morning.
Uko salama?
Uko salama. My name is Clement Borokoibu. Thank you for having me on the show.
Karibu sana.
I appreciate being here. So I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and I'm based in Nakuru, and the practice as such in Nakuru.
Yes. Umesema you're based in Nakuru. Which company?
Which company? Right now, I'm a legal officer at Nakuru Water and Sanitation. Yes, that's where I'm based at. Yes.
Yes, today we are talking about matters pertaining ownership of properties and also land.
Yes.
For viewers pale nyumbani, they are asking, what does the Constitution say about property ownership?
Okay. Now, the Article 40 is the one that addresses ownership of property. Inasema every person has a right to own property of any description and in any part of Kenya. So the Constitution allows us to own property, which land includes. Land is part of property, is also property. So you can own land anywhere in Kenya and of any description. Yes.
Umesema Article 40.
Yes.
In terms of ownership, mimi kama there are terms ambazo tunapanga pale kwa own properties kama vendor, purchaser. What is the difference between a purchaser and a vendor?
So a purchaser is the one who's buying the land, and a vendor is the one who's the registered proprietor. The government is the custodian of all records of land ownership in Kenya. Now, when you buy property, you are registered as an owner, and the government is there. You'll be registered with the government. Now, a vendor is the one who is the registered proprietor. So that when you go to the land records, you will find the name of the vendor. So the vendor is the one who owns the property, the purchaser is the one who wants to buy the property from the vendor. Yes.
Also the vendor, see vendor. Of course. That is the vendor. Major difference of vendor, the purchaser.
Yes.
The vendor.
Yes.
In terms of ownership,
yes.
What are these forms of ownership in terms of land?
Forms of ownership. Now, there are three kinds of ownership. So the first one is sole proprietor. A sole proprietor ni yule mwenye ana own peke yake. You have 5 acres and it's your land. So you are a sole proprietor. The second one is when there is joint tenancy. Joint tenancy is senye kuna more than one owner, and their interest is undivided, and they are owning concurrently. Register me na wewe. If we are joint tenants, it means ndani ya property both of us own the 5 acres, but interest yetu haijulikani. In a match, it is one interest. So whatever unataka kufanya na shamba, you must seek my approval, and whatever I want to do with it, I must seek your approval. So we are joint tenants. And in joint tenants, what happens is you can separate, you can later define the interest if you go through the legal process. But if you do not define the interest, if one tenant dies, the interest, that tenant who died goes to the other tenant. So, for example, a husband and a wife. Usually, if you want to own property, joint tenancy is best when you're married. Yes, it's the best for sababu. When, let's say, the husband dies, the interest of the husband goes directly to the wife. So hata haitahitaji kwenda through succession kushtaki kifo. It automatically merges with the other person, and those who are remaining, they wanakuwa owner. So itaenda hivyo until the last person die. The last person who will leave ndio atakuwa sasa the sole proprietor. And then the other one is tenants in common. Now tenants in common ni kama joint tenants, but their interests are defined. So that unaweza sema ni 50-40. So if it is 10 acres, no, 56, 50, 50, or let's say 60-40. So that if it is 10 acres, I own 6 acres, you own 4 acres. So I don't need, the title would be in our names, but I can still remove my share and do whatever I want to do with it. But in joint tenant, we must agree and then define the shares. So those are the 3 kinds of common ownerships.
Hizo stories hizo ownership.
Yes.
What of those kwenye kama chama?
When you're for chama, usually chama, if the chama is registered, wananunuaga shamba and then wana register in the name of the chama. So the chama members are not the owners of the land. The land is owned by the chama. So what the chama will do is, when they agree, they will divide the land according to the interest and according to shares or whichever way they have decided to share. So the chama is the one that is registered as the owner, not the individuals. The same thing happens when, let's say, we have a company. When you have a company and your company buys property, just because you have 100% shares, that property is not yours. That property belongs to the company. You are a shareholder. Up until time when your company will transfer maybe for shareholders, that's when utakuwa individually and owned. Yes.
Umesema hapa kwa joint tenancy. What if this person is not a husband and a wife? So umesema shares zangu, in case I'm out, itaenda this person. What about the family of this person?
So joint tenancy is not restricted to husband and wife. It's for everyone. Now, if one person dies, the law is clear on that one. When you die, your property, your interest will automatically merge with the interest of the surviving tenants or the surviving tenant. So your family will not get anything. That property haitakuwa subject to any succession. That's why unaambiwa it's good for marriage kama unajua in-laws wako ni watoto kusumbua or something like that, so that the wife automatically ama the husband automatically atapata your interest without going through succession. So kama uko in a joint tenancy, it is better you define. You go through the legal process, get your interest defined. Now, if you can't separate the titles, otherwise, the one who dies, yake itaenda kwa huyo ingine. And then another thing that is interesting in law, supposedly, both of them, let's say it's 2 joint tenants, and they are involved in a car accident. What will happen? And both of them die. Now you see, you can't define, you can't know who died first. Now the law says the older one. It's presumed the older one died first. It turned to the younger person. So the one who's young, the family can benefit from the land.
If both of them are not there.
If both of them die at the same time, it will transfer the interest. Now with the youngest person, the youngest tenant will now become the owner, and it will form part of his free property, now which can go through succession. Now watoto wake waipate. Yes.
Well, that is somehow tricky. But tukirudi kwa terms of properties, kuna wakati ambao nilisikia caveat, nikashindwa hii caveat, what is this thing called caveat?
Caveat. No, a caveat it's an encumbrance. An encumbrance is something that limits, in just simple terms, it limits your rights, what you can do concerning land. When you own land, you have the right to use or dispose of it, depending on the tenure that you can hire. Now, an encumbrance limits those rights. So that a caveat is I'm trying to look for the right words. Yes, but I will say that a caveat is it's an encumbrance. It limits your right depending on the form in which the caveat is in. Yes.
Can we say that caveat is like it's a blockage?
Yes, it's something that prevents you. It limits your rights. You can't just deal with the property the way you would have done if the caveat was not there.
At what point should we say that these properties are a caveat?
When it's registered, a caveat is usually registered. Yes.
So si mtu anakuja anaimpose a caveat?
No, you can't. A caveat is registered. It has to be registered for it to be enforceable. Yes.
So what will I do if property literally a caveat?
You depending. Okay. Depending on the form of caveat, let's say, for example, the government carry, the Mau, yes, this is a good example. Remember the Mau forest, some of the lands, the Mau people now own that land. Now, the government is the one that placed the caveat so that those lands are regarded. The government and someone they are forests, they are part of forests. People took them, yet they are supposed to be forests. Now that caveat will only be removed by the government itself and the mediator. Ama you go to court and have the court remove that caveat. Yes. So if an individual puts it, if an individual, let's say, puts the caveat there, it's the individual either remove or you go to court and have it removed. Yes.
What if it's your, like, sasa kama ni personal land yako?
Personal land? It will be more easier, like, nani anaweka hiyo caveat? Okay. So, like, kama ni individual, let's say, for example, let's say, for example, it's property that you are selling to me. You're selling to me land. And then this land, in the middle of the way, you decide to sell to another person because someone offered me
huge amount of money.
Yes, yes. Now I can go and place a caveat, which is in form of I'm trying to remember the legal name, but I can place a caveat because I'm a purchaser. I have a beneficial interest. Now not as the individual is the one who now if you want to remove that caveat, either I'm the one to remove it, or you can go to court and claim that I placed it there only. Yes.
Well, mtazamaji wa Mamlaka Breakfast, this is the Law Tuesday. We are talking about matters pertaining properties and land. If you're watching us back at home and you'd like to ask any question, you can use the comment section available below, or also you can call us through the numbers or SMS us through the numbers 0700 899 899 or 0721 899 Mr. Koigi,
Yes.
Me as a approach a company, nimesema let me go and purchase a property with this company. Me as the purchaser, me as the purchaser, nikienda pale vio katika the company. What are the things I'm supposed to do for me to nifike kwa the last part ya kuwa title? What are the things that me as a purchaser I should look into?
So the company, I assume the company is registered. Now, when it's a long process, it's a bit of a long process. We can go through it. Now, first of all, the first thing that you do is you conduct due diligence, or rather, you investigate. You investigate the title so that you can see whether that company can pass title. See, whenever you are transacting in land, you have their rights and interests. Those are the things that pass from one person to another. So you first investigate or conduct due diligence to see whether this company is, first of all, the registered owner. Now, the first thing that you will do, you will do a search.
Search. What are the things that is not required for me to find a search?
You will do two different kinds of searches. First of all, we do a search at the company's registry to confirm whether the company is registered. Because once a company is registered, it's a legal person, treated differently from the shareholders or the owners. So you have to confirm whether it is registered. If it's registered, then you know who you can deal with, who can actually, you know that it is the directors who will be able to execute the sale agreement. And then the second search will be at the land registry. Then you will need a copy of the title, PIN certificate for the company, the registration certificate of the company, their KRA PIN, and the prescribed fees which you will pay. And then you will be able now to conduct a search. And then the government, remember I told you, we said them earlier, the government is the custodian of all these records. Now the government will now tell you who is registered, and then you receive something called an official certificate of search. Yes, which will indicate who is the owner, and how big the land is, and whether there is any encumbrance. Yes.
Umesema kupatia title. What's the difference between title and a mother title?
Title, both are titles.
Both are titles.
Yes, a mother title usually refers to, let's say, it's usually used when it's a huge piece of land and there are people who want to be, and the owner wants to subdivide it. So that if it is 100 acres and I am buying 5 acres, we will refer to the, when I will refer to the title for the whole as the mother title, so that I will require the mother title so that I can submit it to the registry for them to effect and actually give me a title for my 5 acres and give them a title for their own 95 acres. Yes. So a mother title is just a title. It's just a way. It's a way of making communication easier. But a title is a title. Yes.
We've been seeing most companies wanatumia, in terms of going to do a search, wanatumia mother title mostly. Yes. So when ukienda na hiyo mother title upatia kwamba this mother title is not registered katika jina ya kampuni, what should I do?
You should stop the transaction because they are not the owners. Because for you to be, you have to be registered owner. So again, mother title, the way you use these land buying companies, you know, they buy a huge piece of land and then they subdivide it, and then they tell you like, this is your plot, that is your plot. Now they refer to it, the way we have said, they refer to it as the mother title. But if you go and do a search and you find that they are not the registered owner, it means they cannot pass the interest that they want, or they cannot pass the rights and the interest they have, because they don't have they don't have any rights or interest in that land, and so they cannot pass it. So for me to pass something to you, and for me to pass land to you, what I'm actually passing also is rights and interest. Now, if I don't have these rights and interest, I cannot pass them. I cannot give that which I do not have. Yes. So if they do not have,
so hapo ndipo watu wanakuja kusema nimekoniwa, nimeskamiwa.
Yes.
And yet you didn't do the thing called a search.
Yeah, so you have to do a search. And then there are 3 reasons why you do a search or you investigate the title. Now that's a buyer beware. You know, like, beware. Beware of your rights. Beware beware just of everything. You see, don't act ignorantly, because ignorance will not help you, and you cannot plead ignorance when things go haywire. So that principle imposes an obligation on the purchaser to investigate the title. The second reason why you do that is because there's this called a bona fide purchaser for value without notice. That is where, let's say you are selling land to me, in the earliest scenario, 5 million, but someone out there wants to buy it for 7 million. Now you decide to sell to
7 million.
Yes, you decide to sell. You decide to sell to the other person. Let me change the example. Let me use another example. Let's say, let's maintain that example. Now, you have already executed the transfers and everything, and you have done. It's what remains is the transfer, and to have the title registered in my name, and then you sell to this other person. You know, now this other person, which maybe a fake title means, you just sell to that other person. Now, for this other person to be a bona fide purchaser for value without notice, it means he bought that land for value, and he did not know that your title had a defect. How does your title how was your title defective? You had already sold your interest and rights to me. For him to be protected, he must have done due diligence. He must have investigated the title. So that atakuwa protected in the sense that if you completed the transfer to him, he will remain with the land. But for me, the only thing I can claim is the purchase price from you. And then the third reason too, it's just prudence. It's money you are using and you want to invest. So just prudence dictates that you investigate the title. Yes. And then the other thing that you do, the last one, you inspect the property. It is best when you want to buy the property. People usually
Yeah, very true. Watu wengi huko nje wananunua hewa.
Unanunua hewa kwa sababu you didn't inspect the property. Yes, it's good you have done the investigations of the land registry, but you also have to do investigations, your own investigations, which was again prudence dictates. So, like you go to the land and see one who is in occupation. It might be you might be buying land that has squatters. If it has squatters, those squatters, one again, you can't just remove them. The law also protects them. As much as they are there illegally, you can't just wake up one day and finish it. There's a process. So they will limit your use of the land until they are removed. And then there's also the other thing, you check for the boundaries, and then you check for rights and easements. For example, the owner of the land alitikishia watu wapitiage katikati ya shamba yake akaunda path. You know, that becomes now a right. Those people who use that path have a right. So people will be passing through your land and you can't prevent them.
What is the defense?
So, it is an easement. It passed into the land, so you can't. They will fight. They can fight you in court, and they will still get their path, their pathway. Yes, and then also to check if the land you're buying has fixtures. For example, you're buying land that has a building, that has water tanks, that has fences. You also confirm that those things are actually there. So you just don't buy because they are there. And then one thing just of interest, and in Onaga, in my line of practice, there is also the thing of who is in actual occupation. When someone comes into your land, want to trespass, it's an illegal act. But the law says when you come to adverse possession, that if they stay there for 12 years, you require possession. They did not enter the land violently or anything. They stay there for 12 years and you had knowledge that they were there. After 12 years, they can actually claim adverse possession and have that land transferred to them. So it is good you go and confirm so that if these quotas have been there for more than 12 years, that right, that advice, they can still claim adverse possession against you. So that you buy land and then you find these people going to court and the court transfers the land that they are the land to them. Yes.
Wow. Tumekuwa tukisikia surveyors hapa, surveyors pale. What is the role of these surveyors?
Surveyors? We work together with surveyors, but usually surveyors come during times of, let's say, subdivision of the property, amalgamation of the property, ascertaining the boundaries and the beacons and locating the beacons or placing the beacons. So subdivision is, for example, where you are saying there's another title and you're subdividing into different people so that you want several titles to come out. So if it's 10 acres, you're dividing 10 times, you need a surveyor to do the subdivision. Let's say again, you have 5 acres, they are joining each other and you decide you want them to be one under one title. That one you need a surveyor to do an amalgamation. You also need a lawyer. But yeah, you need a lawyer and a surveyor. That's it. And then there is also the one I'm saying, beacons. They are the ones who do georeferencing, they locate the beacons and everything and the boundaries. They are the ones who also draw the maps and amend the maps. Yes.
Umesema we need a lawyer.
Yes.
Those people that wanakuja, like mimi niko na shamba nataka kuzia. Do I need a lawyer also in terms of biashara yetu?
Yes, you do need a lawyer for prudence. First of all, there are documents during conveyancing. There are documents that are only drafted by lawyers. Anyone else who drafts them commits an offense. It's only reserved for lawyers. There are specific documents. And then the other thing is, a lawyer is an advocate is versed in that area with knowledge. Why not use that knowledge of that advocate so that you avoid having a bad investment? Because I've heard of cases, for example, there's this case I knew where the purchaser was telling the vendor was telling the purchaser, when you look at it to shamba, we don't need an agreement. That is very dangerous because agreements must be in writing. Land agreements, for you to enforce your right in court, they must be in writing. So that one is dangerous. And then also things like just advice, the way we are doing, the way I'm telling you, you do searches. An advocate will also advise you to do also what we call a historical search. The first one we spoke of was called an official search. There's also a historical search. A historical search is where you go to the history of that land until you find who was the first owner, how that property moved until the current vendor. so that they can be able to pass to you. So that if you find any defect here, you see you can avoid. So an advocate will really help you to do due diligence. Yes. And then the last place, the other place where you need an advocate is where there is financing. Because when you are doing, you really need an advocate. Let's say the bank is financing you at 80% of the purchase price. You have already paid the deposit of 20%. For the bank to release the remainder of the money, they usually want you to be registered as they usually want the person who's taking the loan to be registered, and then they register a charge against that property. Now, there you need an advocate because remember, you have not paid the vendor the whole purchase price, but you want the vendor to give you the title and the transfer documents, that the document be transferred to you, and yet you have not paid in full. So an advocate they come in handy because they do. I'm trying to remember this name. I apologize. They do undertaking, professional undertaking, and the professional undertaking are enforceable against the advocate. So the advocate tells you're the advocate for the purchaser will write to the advocate for the vendor and tell them, release these documents, and I undertake that we will pay immediately when we are registered. When my client is registered, we will pay you the remainder of the money. Now, if supposedly you release and they don't pay, you can now sue this advocate and recover that money from you. So even you don't have to sue the purchaser, you can sue the advocate.
As soon as I sue advocate.
Yes.
Very nice. Very, very nice. I can sue an advocate.
Yes, people think I find people there saying, you can't take that. You can't sue an advocate, you can sue. But advocates are really, an advocate can be, if they commit, you can be charged criminally and a civil and also a disciplinary. You have a disciplinary charge. Yes, that advocates.
Yes, on to matters that kunakuwa na hiyo sales agreement.
Yes.
A sales agreement is signed between the company and the purchaser, right?
Yes.
What are these contents that are in the sales agreement?
So, first of all, the law says in the law of contract and that agreements for the sale of land, interest, passing or transfer of interest, they need to be in writing for them to be enforceable in court. So if you don't reduce them to writing, you can't approach the court. You lose whatever you are trying to buy, the interest of the rights. And then, but there are exceptions to this one. For example, where there is a public auction, where there is resulting trust, constructive trust, and all those things. But some of the things that are there in the description of the parties in a sale agreement. So you will describe the purchaser, the vendor, you describe the vendor, and you will give their name, their ID number, and then describe the purchaser, their name, their ID number, and postal address if you wish. You will also describe the property so that the agreement is specific to the property. Because every property has a name, the land now. And then after the land, now you go into things like the purchase price, how much have you agreed is the purchase price, what deposit is going to be paid, and the completion date, when the remainder of the deposits are the balance of the purchase price is supposed to be paid, the tenure that is being passed, and then there are now the general terms. The general terms include the mode of payments, things like when there is breach, dispute resolution, and then depending on the agreement, again, there are special conditions. Now, for example, you can tell the agreement to start a certain thing happening so that the agreement is completed. For example, I will think of a special condition is where there's another title and it's only the property that is being removed. So you see, a special condition will be interest you want to pay, you will pay the remainder when they exercise your property from the mother title. Yes.
We have instances whereby tumekuwa na companies whereby they have shut down, and yet they haven't delivered the titles to clients. Me as a purchaser, and niko na hiyo sales agreement, can I go to the court and give my case?
No, if the company is a limited liability company, the reason why it shuts down also, the reason why they close shop also matters. Is it because they are insolvent? And if they are insolvent, it's a whole different case. You can now, it's a whole different case. But let's say assume it's not that one. You will sue. You can sue. You have a sale agreement because the sale agreement is an expression of what the both of you wanted, you and the company, and it speaks about the rights and the interests that were being passed and the consideration that were being passed. Now, let me say just a few things. If you a sale agreement or any agreement has elements for it to be an agreement, so that you know whether you have a right or you can go to court. Number one is the offer. The offer is the one that the vendor makes. Yes, but not the offer letter. The offer. The offer is like, I have 5 acres. Will you buy it at 5 or will you buy it at 5 million? That is my offer. And then once I make an offer, there is acceptance. You accept the offer. So these are the things that will be in the agreement. So that it says the vendor is willing to sell and the purchaser is willing to buy this land at this value. And then once there's an offer, there is consideration. Consideration is exchange of promises. In exchange of me transferring my rights and interests to you, you will pay me 5 million. Those are the promises. And then there's the intention to be bound, to be legally bound. And then there is also the capacity. You have the capacity to sell. Minors cannot do that. But in certain instances, minors do not have the capacity to sell. Even people of sound mind, they do not have the legal capacity to transfer their rights and interest in land. Yes.
Wow, that is actually purchasing the land sales agreement.
Yes.
What of nimekuja sijakuwa a sales agreement?
When you don't have a seller and you're paid, naomba Mungu wako, those people become faithful. Because if there's no sale agreement, you know, that one is every other thing. For example, this book I can purchase without a sale agreement. You can sell to me. This one, the law does not require us to have a sale agreement for us to enforce our rights through the court. But for land, the Section 3, subsection 3 of the Law of Contract Act is very clear that it must be released in writing for you to enforce that right in court. So that if you purchase it without an agreement and this person refuses to, if you try to purchase and this person refuses to transfer the property to you, you can't go to the court for relief. You will be stopped. When you go to court, they will raise that one and say there is no sale agreement. No, you can't enforce your rights. That's why nakwambia uombe Mungu wako atransfer tu bila kukusumbua. But akikusumbua, you need the assistance of the court, you will be blocked. Your case will not be able to go anywhere. You will file it, but it will be struck out. It will be dismissed and struck out.
Na nikiona na evidence za receipts.
It doesn't matter.
It won't make any difference.
It must be at the very least be written someone. Even if it's written in layman's language, Kikuyu, meaning, it must be written.
And in short, lazima kuna writing somewhere.
Yes, writing, and the people and you as the purchaser, you execute, I as the vendor execute, and then witnesses. I think the 2 witnesses.
That's where I was coming also.
Yes.
But your witnesses. Apart from witnesses, who should be my witness? Is it family member or just anyone?
Anyone can be a witness. A witness only, what the purpose of a witness is, kusema, milioni Grace akisema. Yes. I was there, I saw Grace signing the agreement. Hawezi kuruka kwa sababu hata ana sign aseme alikuona witness ukisign.
Also there's a part here by the witness has to sign.
Yes, now you can say signed by Grace in the presence of Nani, and then they sign. So it's just a witness. That's what a witness does. A witness confirms that you signed that agreement, and that is your mark or your signature. Yes.
Well, that is matters pertaining purchasing of the land, mtazamaji. And if you're watching us for the first time, ama unataka kumiss a lot of things happening, the repeat will also be at 9:30 p.m. On Mamlaka TV, channel 156 on Pang. You will also be airing the repeat of the same. And pia pale kwenye YouTube will also be doing a repeat of the same program. Mr. Koigi, hii sales agreement sasa ni tumemaliza kusign, imepeleka kwa lawyers, wame approve. Is it the end of me now purchasing? Nikae chini ngoje itotolewe?
No, that's not the end. Yes, and I will advise people, you have your advocates draft the sale agreement. Don't draft it yourself, because they are clauses that they are right, they ought to be there for the security of both parties or for yourself, which many people do not know. For example, there is something called the severability clause. The severability clause says if any part of this agreement, any clause, any section is found to be null, void, illegal, or law changes so that it affects that one, that part of the agreement that has been found to be null will be removed, and the remainder of the agreement will be operational. So it ensures even if the law changes regarding a certain clause, there is continuity. So don't draft it and then go to a lawyer. Go to a lawyer so that the lawyer can draft it.
So I should go to the lawyer and draft here.
Yes.
Ndio mimi nikuje nisome.
Yes, akupe usome where you need explanation. He will explain you, and then now you can decide not to sign. Now, once you have signed the agreement, there's that part. Remember, we spoke when it's a completion. Yeah. The completion date. A completion. Once we set a completion date, you can say the agreement will be, the completion date will be 90 days from the date we executed this agreement. Now, on the completion date, there are things that the vendor has to bring to you in exchange of you paying the balance of the purchase price. So some of these things include the original certificate of title. So the original certificate of title lazima akuwe nayo. And then there is also something called the valid rates clearance certificate, which you need. You know, for every land we pay rates. Every land in Kenya has to be paid rates to the government. And so you need a valid rates clearance certificate for the land registry to allow the transfer to continue. Then you need consents from the relevant boards. For example, the Land Control Board, the Kenya Railways. You need from the Kenya Railways and other other relevant authorities. Let me just to mention a few things about the Land Control Board. There is the Land Control Act. Kenya is an agriculture. Our land is usually used for agriculture. Now the Land Control Act limits the way agricultural land can be dealt with. So any land that is regarded as agricultural land, for there to be a valid transfer, you need consent from the relevant Land Control Board. And the law is very clear. Many people are usually caught by that. If you don't get that consent within 6 months from the date when the agreement was signed, that agreement becomes null and void. So many people usually don't know that, and nothing. When there is dispute and when they go to court, they find that the vendor protects himself using that section. So you need that one. You need if it is in a controlled area, controlled land, then you need it. And then you also need transfers that have been executed by the vendor. So the transfers are the legal instruments that you submit to the land registry. They're showing that the land there was an agreement, and now you want to transfer your interests and rights to the purchaser. And then you need copies of the identity cards of the vendor, and if it's or passports, and if it's a company, you need PIN certificates. And then you will need 3 passport size photographs of the vendor, and then you will need maybe spousal consent if there is any, and any other document. And then once you have these documents and they have been given to you, you will submit them now to the land registry. Yes.
Wow, that is a wonderful session. Happy weekend, Mamlaka Breakfast. And if you're watching us, the Mamlaka TV is my Facebook page. Grace Njeri is also my Facebook page, and Karaoke Anga is also his Facebook page. Tukimalizia, Mr. Koike, I would like you to give us a parting shot.
A parting shot?
Yes.
My advice would be, if you are really investing in land and seeing that money does not come easy, you have to work for that money. The best thing is, people think advocates are expensive, but it is best that you be prudent and use and spend a little extra money than actually lose a whole investment. So it's best when you engage someone who has knowledge in that area. Just the same way advocates go to doctors. We don't treat ourselves because we are advocates, but we know the doctor has better knowledge than us. So you go there. Now if you want your investments to be protected, one way to do that, I would advise people go to an advocate, a competent one, and then everything will be easier.
Yes, for those who are watching us and they would like you to become maybe a good advocate, how will you get you?
I can share my phone number. My phone number is 0708 49 5968. Yes.
That is Mr. Koigi, and we will be taking a short commercial break. Tutakuwa na wacha na a little bit of some documentary from Bishop Benson Ng'ang'a. Tuone mahali aliweza kutoka na mahali ambapo amefika wakati wa saa hii.
Sanctuary in Barnabas, Nakuru City. This is where the main sanctuary is set up. Chosen. A journey of 1,000 miles began with one step. Benson Ng'ang'a was born in Ngano, Bahati Ward. He is the second child to Mr. Arthur Njoroge and Bishop Martha Ng'ang'a, and brother to Helen Ng'ang'a. As a young boy, he was ambitious, kind-hearted, and a lover of people. He received Christ at a tender age, led to Christ by his mother. He served Christ in CFF Kenya. As a young minister, his zeal for ministry saw him elected as one of the pastors of CFF Kenya under the gracious mentorship of Archbishop Harrison K. Ng'ang'a.
When you wake up in the morning and you say something good will happen into my life, that statement by itself has created an environment for you for faith to work.
He completed his biblical studies at Pinecrest Bethany Bible Training Center, New York, USA, and later pursued counseling courses at Daystar University. Reverend Benson Ng'ang'a is happily married to his lovely wife, Pastor Patricia Ng'ang'a, and together they are blessed with 4 beautiful children. Chosen Generation Church began its initial services in the center of Nakuru along Kenyatta Avenue. This was after the Lord commanded his servant, Reverend Ben Ng'ang'a, to come to Nakuru and begin his ministry. Together with the support of his beloved wife, Pastor Patricia, and a team of dedicated faithfuls who believed the God-given vision bestowed on the man of God, Reverend Benson Ng'ang'a has a well-defined mandate from God to bring forth a message of hope. He has a great passion for winning souls through street evangelism and youth outreaches.
In Chosen Generation Church, yote yawezekana Youth Development Group.
Together with the Chosen Generation Church Kenya evangelism team, they have been to different villages, centers, towns across Nakuru County and beyond. Many have given their lives to Christ and indeed witnessed the move of the Lord. The Lord would have the ministry expand greatly, and the hall along Kenyatta Avenue was too small, and miraculously God provided funds to buy and construct a much bigger and lovely sanctuary in Barnabas, Nakuru City. This is where the main sanctuary is set up. Chosen Generation Church is a mission-based church. Our main pillars are evangelism, teaching God's word in truth and simplicity, prayer and fasting, raising deliverers, family deliverance, youth outreach, community health-based outreaches. Mamlaka TV is a media house with impact in the marketplace and the body of Christ. This is where lives are impacted with life-changing programs. Mamlaka Television is a voice of reason and hope in our areas, and we are grateful that we create jobs in the marketplace. Better You Foundation. Our main agenda is to equip and help people living with disabilities. We have put up medical camps offering free medical services across the county like diabetes, blood pressure, cancer screening, among others. Working with the government and other organizations in enhancing the lives of people living with disability. This is a great day, as the chosen vessel of God is ordained into the office of a bishop. Truly, we can all attest that Reverend Benson Nanga has been a blessing to the body of Christ and to our individual lives. As the Lord ushers him into the next level, may you too receive new grace to enter higher and bigger doors in all aspects of your life. Surely the Lord has done it. We humbly say, Baba, pokea utukufu wote.